Welcome to the 1988 Buddy Bowl with your captains Jim Bradley, Tony Ballestieri, Ron Miller, John Bennett, Ted Kramer, and Andy DeMeyer drafting the previous Wednesday before the games. John Bennett making his first round pick. And there is Andy DeMeyer, 12th Buddy Bowl as a captain. And now we have the warm-ups between the first game between Ron Miller's Killers and Tony Ballestieri. The question here is, will Ron Miller's team repeat again? As Dan Fontaine poses for his Buddy Bowl card picture. Right before the start of the game, we have the referee explaining the rules, Buddy Bowl rules to both the captains, and we'll have the first game of the 1988 Buddy Bowl in just a moment. Checking to see if the flags work, now we have the coin flip. We're about ready to start the 1988 Buddy Bowl. Tony Ballestieri's team wants the ball, so here we have the kickoff, the 1988 Buddy Bowl. Fontaine kicks it off, and veteran Scotty Evans takes the kick. Goes over a couple tacklers, and the tackle there is by Jay Hybert. It's a hard-hitting game. Look at that block. We're going to show that to you again in slow motion. Bob Fleet hits Buddy Bowl rusher John Benedict with a great block. Flips him head over heels in this hard-hitting game. Despite that completion, the drive falls short, and the only touchdown of the game is a cundiff pass to veteran Dan Powell, who goes over Brown for the score. It's 6-0, and Ron Miller's team will fight back. But two turnovers caused Ron Miller's team to be shut out here, as Buddy Bowl veteran Steve Machinsky, his 12th year, makes two recoveries of fumbles. Here we have the first play. Bill Hamlin gets the ball and throws a backward lateral straight to Machinsky. Ron Miller gets the flag, but another killer threat is over. Later on, a bad hike victimizes Miller. He tries to throw it, but does a Garo Yepremian. Machinsky gets it for his second fumble recovery. Miller's Killers get shut out in this opening game, an upset for Ballestieri's team, 6-0. Ron Miller knows, though, he can come back. The second game of the day was a real barn burner between veterans Jim Bradley and Andy DeMeyer. In this wild game, the first play was just as wild. Steve Guston takes a short pass and he's off to the races. 73 yards past B.J. Clark for the score. With a conversion, it's 8-0 DeMeyer's team. But then the Bruisers come back, and Dave Helms here hit Jim Bradley for a touchdown of 30 yards to tie the score 8-8. Good rush by Roar Carl stops this drive by DeMeyer's team. After that defensive play, they get the ball back, and a short TD pass to Bradley again makes the score 14-8. It's a good offense by Jim Bradley's team as a shovel pass to rookie Bruce Brown goes for good yardage. Helms finds Buddy Bowl veteran Paul Barrow for 20 yards here to get them closer to the goal line. Helms will then run it up the middle for another TD to make the score 20-8. But DeMeyer's team comes back. Slow motion here, we see Andy DeMeyer throwing it to Mark Albrecht for 32 yards. Getting close to the goal line, Andy DeMeyer will run 2 yards for the TD to make the score 20-16 in this wild football game. With 4 points, about as close as they can get. A great catch there by Paul Barrow and a good pass, knocking over defender Paul Tart. Here is one of the best catches of the day as Helms finds Paul Barrow in the end zone. All you need is 1 foot, and he does it for the score, 28-16. Let's see that catch in slow motion. What a great catch by Paul Barrow. The score ends 28-16 in favor of Bradley's team. Now we have game 3 between John Bennett and Kramer's team. John Bennett opens up and finds Mike Cyber for 54 yards. Good quality flags there. From the 19-yard line, then John Bennett finds Mike Bennett in the end zone. It's a 6-6 game, or 6-0. Here the score is tied 6-6. As Ballantyne from the 7-yard line finds Mike Peckham in the end zone for a touchdown. With the score tied, John Bennett starts the drive here. Behind good protection, he scrambles around. And in slow motion here, we see John Bennett finding Mike Cyber for 12 yards and a TD after a pass to his brother Mike for 25 yards to make the score 12-6. Then later in the game, Ballantyne is intercepted by John Bennett. Billy Bennett then is back to pass and finds Mike Cyber for 46 yards and a touchdown as the defense misses the flag. It's 18-6 now as the sack specialists come in for John Bennett's team. Craig Beaver gets the first sack, and then Scott Carl finishes them off as the game ends, 18-6 in favor of John Bennett's team. Now game 4 between Valley Series team and Jim Bradley. Dave Helms runs here. We see in slow motion for 15 yards as they control the offensive part of the game. After that run, then Helms finds Brown for 15 yards in the end zone. The ball is tipped to him for the score. Here we see that tip in slow motion. Bradley's team gets the ball back, but he's intercepted by Tony Ballesteri on a 39-yard return. However, Ballesteri's team couldn't move the ball, and then Doug Powell hits Paul Barrow for 40 yards and a touchdown to make the score 12-0. Trying to score in this game, Scotty Evans gets a short pass. And then Cundiff finds Dave Murray for 38 yards and a TD to make the score 12-6. But they couldn't get any closer as Bradley's team emerges victorious. Back from the shutout, here we have Ron Miller's team against Andy DeMeyer's team. Regalad is sacked by Bob Fleet for a safety to make the score 2-0 in favor of Miller's team. Getting the ball on the free kick, Miller finds Jay Hybert for 21 yards. Miller then will run for 15 more yards as they move down the field. Miller's team is back. Miller then finds Todd Hoff rolling right and throws it to him in the end zone for a touchdown. 8-0 Miller's team. Regalot back to pass, but he is sacked by Todd Hoff. Meyer's team goes nowhere. Miller's team gets the ball again, and Miller finds Hamlin for another TD. 26 yards this time, and it's 14-0. Regalot still throws, but it's intercepted. Fontaine takes the ball and romps down the right sideline for 14 more yards closer to the end zone. Miller found Hamlin for that TD to make it 20-0. And this last second great catch there by Lee Hope rounds out the final score 20-8 in Miller's team. Let's watch that last catch again. What a great catch by Lee Hope, Buddy Bowl rookie. One of the greatest catches in Buddy Bowl history as now we get ready for John Bennett and Ron Miller's team. It's a grudge match. But no one could have figured how one-sided this game would be. John Bennett gets the ball and throws to Mike Cyber for 40 yards past defenders Bruce Fisher. Bennett from the 5-yard line rolls right, gets away from the rush, and throws 5 yards to Mike Cyber for a TD. He's wide open. 6-0 John Bennett's team. Miller's team has the ball but can go nowhere as they're sacked by Craig Beaver. Getting the ball back, they drive down the field, and from the 12-yard line, Mike Martin takes the ball and runs it. Good gadget play for a touchdown, 14-0. Getting the ball back, they drive down the field again, and from the 23-yard line, John Bennett throws into the corner of the end zone, finds Steve Cyber wide open. It's 20-0. The game isn't even close. Miller, desperation throw, throws it high, and it's intercepted. Mike Cyber. After the interception, John Bennett will then from the 22-yard line see Steve Cyber for another touchdown to make the final score 26-0. Paul Quick in as a desperation quarterback and throws a last-second interception to Billy Bennett. The game ends, John Bennett 26, Miller 0. Back in the other field, we have Tony Ballesteri's team against Kramer's team. And you see quarterback Cundiff throwing to Ballesteri for 19 yards. Tony Ballesteri holding the record, 16 straight games with a reception. And here is a TD of 10 yards, 8-0. Now we have an interception by Glenn Hickey. Cundiff, 67-yard return for a touchdown. It's 8-6 now in favor of Ballesteri's team. With the score 8-6, now we have Walter Poole with the punt, and we're going to see Dave Murray with the longest punt return in Buddy Bowl history, 46-yard. A saving tackle by Kurt Lutz. Number 9, Cundiff back to pass and throws Tony Ballesteri over the middle for a 23-yard TD. The final score, 14-6, Ballesteri's team. Valentine back to pass now in this game between Bradley's team versus Kramer's, and Doug Powell makes the interception there. But Dave Helms back to pass those interceptions to Tyler Gabriel. Third quarterback of the game, Dave Murray gets the ball. He throws another interception to David Santasteven. With the interceptions fast and furious, Doug Powell then passes to Helms for 25 yards. Finally, a completion to a receiver on the same team. Then Helms finds Paul Barrow to the 1-yard line. The game ends with Paul Helms finding Paul Burrow for a touchdown, 6-0. Now we have Andy DeMeyer's team against John Bennett. John Bennett opens up with a pass to Steve Cyber for 27 yards. But they couldn't do anything with that ball, so DeMeyer gets the ball back and throws a long pass to Mark Albrecht for 29 yards. Moving the ball, and DeMeyer looks for Paul Tart in the end zone. And Paul Tart makes a great catch for a score. But wait a minute, let's look at that on instant replay. Was it a TD? Let's look. Just releasing the ball barely in front of the rusher. DeMeyer's pass is tipped. And here we see in slow motion that the ball is picked up off the ground by Paul Tart. It shouldn't have been a touchdown, but it was called that way. Nevertheless, it's 6-0, DeMeyer's team. With a 6-0 lead, DeMeyer's team gets the ball back and he hits veteran Jay Harvey for 26 yards. DeMeyer then looks and finds Brian Regalot for 21 more yards. And in slow motion here we have Andy DeMeyer finding Augie Philando for 5 yards and a touchdown to make the score 14-0. Line 14-0. John Bennett sees Mike Bennett for 52 yards. Here we have in slow motion that catch. And in slow motion here we have from the 17-yard line John Bennett running for a touchdown to make the score 14-6. They're within 8 points. Behind 14-6, a 66-yard pass to Tom Cox gets John Bennett's team closer to the goal line. But on this fourth down play, John Bennett's pass falls incomplete in the end zone. Now we have the championship game between the Buddies and the Bruisers. John Bennett versus Jim Bradley as Mike Cyber takes the kickoff 24 yards. Bennett will find nobody open, so he runs for 20 more yards. John Bennett escapes the rush and finds Mike Cyber for 24 yards. But the drive stalls, and Jim Bradley's team will get the ball. Now we have a behind-the-back lateral to B.J. Clark for 16 yards. Let's see that lateral in slow motion behind the back by quarterback Dave Helms. On this 4-play drive for 88 yards, Helms with a shovel pass to Bruce Brown for 35 more yards. Roy Carls gets the Helms aerial on this one, good for 17 more yards, closer to the goal line. Then Helms will find a wide open Bruce Brown for 20 yards and a TD. It's 8-0 now in the 88 Buddy Bowl championship game. Behind 8-0, John Bennett's team gets the ball back, but a few incompletions will force John Bennett's team to punt the ball away. John Bennett's kick goes out of bounds near midfield. Bradley's team has the ball. Doug Powell now back to pass and throws, but it's dropped by B.J. Clark. But it doesn't matter as Helms, back to pass, throws 45-yard TD to a wide-open Doug Powell to make the score 16-0. Can John Bennett's team come back from such a deficit? They try hard here as Tom Cox gets the first pass from John Bennett. Bennett then finds Mike Cyber as he gets out of bounds. Third completion finds Tom Cox again, number 65. And then John Bennett, great catch by Steve Cyber, 20 yards for a touchdown. The score is 16-6 with a great catch here, but they miss the vital extra point. It's 16-6. Bradley's team couldn't move the ball as Paul Barrow punts it away. John Bennett gets the ball, makes a fine return. John Bennett's team has control of this game. Behind great protection, Bennett finds Steve Cyber for 23 yards. Tom Cox again, another reception. Bennett finds Steve Cyber on the sideline. A long scramble here as John Bennett gets away from rushers Rich Wright and Roy Carls. Craig Beaver gets the ball to the 4-yard line. John Bennett then finds Mike Cyber on a perfect pattern in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Let's watch that touchdown again. It's a perfect timing pattern. John Bennett throws the ball just past the outstretched hand of rusher Rich Wright, all 6'5" of them. Mike Cyber gets past his man. Good defense, but there wasn't much you could do. The pass was right there for the score. Watch how he stops with his left foot on the 1-yard line and then goes into the end zone. And the ref is right there to make the call. Again, they missed the extra point, but here comes the onside kick with a score 16-12. Paul Barrow makes the recovery. Jim Bradley's team will run out the clock here with Jim Bradley with a catch there. It's 16-12, and the Helms will run the clock out. The 1988 Buddy Bowl champion Bradley's Bruisers.